Hey there, welcome back to Cooking a la LaLa. Today we're going to do something different. We're starting at my neighbor Stephanie Coffin's house. She cultivates shiitake mushrooms. It's amazing. So our menu today is going to be all about shiitake mushrooms and the different things that we can do with them. If this is your first time to the show, thank you. If you need to look at the archived episodes, go to horizontheater.com. The episodes and the recipes are all there, and I hope you enjoy the show. Here we are in the backyard of Stephanie Coffin. She has these beautiful shiitake logs that she has inoculated with these spores, and we are going to explore the logs. Stephanie is a good friend, a neighborhood activist, and a shiitake cultivatrix. And these are the beginnings of the most recent harvest. This is Stephanie.
Well, actually, this is the end of the harvest.
Okay.
You can see some little ones right here, but these right here I'm going to cut. Ooh, I don't even have to cut them. They're so big. Look at them.
Wow, that's gorgeous. You want me to hold that one?
Yeah. And then this one right here.
Look at these. Look at that beautiful, creamy, white, gorgeous color.
And these are just really ready to eat.
When did you inoculate these logs?
These
that's great.
are probably about 3 years old.
And
maybe 2 years old.
And I came over here the other day, and these were about the size of that one down there.
About the size of this
So
one.
in 48 hours, these went from that size down there to basically they quadrupled.
Yeah.
So supersonic growth.
You can see this one right here, like here. It's kind of dark, but they start off like that, and like maybe tomorrow when they start to get flat, or just before they get flat, that's when you want to cut them.
Wow, this is amazing. Stephanie, thank you so much for sharing.
Sure.
I owe you a quart of tomatoes. I'll bring that over later.
All right. Enjoy. Remember, you got to cook shiitake mushrooms. Don't eat them raw.
Good advice. Okay, so we're going to make some arugula pesto. We're going to have an arugula salad with a yummy lemon vinaigrette and some toasted pine nuts. This is our arugula. Oh, and look, there's a Bill Murphy, award-winning actor and eater of gougere, and his son Will J. They've been in the turnip patch, picking some turnips.
You might remember me from Vanya and Sasha.
No, it was Sonia, and Sonia. We were sorely abused in the awards season after that show, but we won't dwell on it. One thing you can do with your arugula is cut it like this, right at the root, and it'll grow back. Or you can judiciously go down the row and pick a few leaves from every plant. And then here is this remarkable spinach. Look at that. This is the size of half of my face on a good day. All right, so I'm just going to pick a little bit more. Y'all say goodbye.
Bye. Goodbye. Good to see you again.
What is the message? It's all going to be okay?
We're all in this together.
Now we're going to make pesto. Most people think of pesto as basil, pine nuts, parmesan, which is delicious. I love it. But we are going to make a different kind of pesto. My basil plants are still sort of little babies right now, so I don't have enough basil to make a nice batch of pesto genovese, but I have tons of arugula. Bury me in a bed of arugula. I love it. It's peppery, it's delicious, it's crunchy. So we're going to make an arugula pesto with pine nuts. You can use walnuts if you like. A lot of recipes you see will call for walnuts, but I just prefer the pine nut, freshly grated Parmesan. You can use pecorino if you want. Salt, pepper, and definitely some cloves of garlic and extra virgin olive oil. Where is my olive oil? Let me look. Oh my goodness. Well, at least I'm not hoarding toilet paper. So what we're going to do is load these into the Cuisinart. You can use a blender if you like, but I think this is the better tool for this situation. This is about 4 ounces, and it's been cleaned, and all the heavy stems, or most of the heavy stems, And I'm just gonna put this in here. Yummy, beautiful. It smells so delicious. And I'm gonna give a few of these cloves of garlic a rough chop. Throw those in along with our other dry ingredients. Actually, first just the pine nuts. We'll add the Parmesan at the end. And now I'm gonna slowly drizzle our extra virgin olive oil. Okay, you can see we have pulsed this about 10 times. Bump, 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 pulse, pulse. And it's just the arugula, the garlic, and the pine nuts. Now, I'm gonna slowly drizzle in the olive oil. This may be a little loud. Just like this. And it will come together. And we'll keep doing that as we go along. We want to scrape the sides down. So all of this stuff that's up on the sides, look at how beautiful that is. It's so good. This would be really delicious over some pasta after we get our Parmesan cheese in here and some salt and pepper. I am going to serve it today on some toasted bread slices with some burrata cheese. Delicious. But I'm gonna finish pulsing this and I'm gonna put it into a different bowl to add the Parmesan, and then we're almost done. It's that quick. Okay, how easy was that? You could do it in a mortar and pestle, but I just think that takes too long for this busy gal. I'm gonna put about a half a cup of Parmesan in here. Oh, I've already made a mess. I need somebody to clean up after me. All right, and I've put about a half a teaspoon of salt. We may adjust that, but just fold in the cheese. Oh gosh, it's so beautiful. And this is the essence of spring. And another thing, I think there's been a theme developing in this show that we're trying to use the things that we have available to us during this time of pandemic or hardship. Luckily, the stores have been able to be remarkably well stocked, but I wanted to kind of try to see how I could live with using what I had on hand and what we're growing. And so today, that is the arugula, also the mushrooms that we grow and my neighbor grows. We got our mushrooms from our neighbor next door. We're going to be using those. We'll be using the arugula for salad. So anyhow, continuing the theme of using what we have as best as we can, but it's going to be, you're going to be hard pressed to do better than this. Arugula pesto. We're doing two things with these homegrown mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms. First, we're going to do a shiitake, sauteed shiitakes with some shallot on toast with some very rich triple cream cheese. This is delicious. This recipe I hijacked from this wonderful cookbook, Scott Peacock and Edna Lewis, The Gift of Southern Cooking. There are so many great recipes in this book. This, what we're gonna do is with these shiitakes. You can use any combination of wild mushrooms, chanterelles, hedgehog, wood ear. You could use portobello. The only ones I'm not nuts about are just those white button mushrooms. They don't have that umami flavor. But look at these beautiful, pristine that we harvested yesterday at my neighbor's house. I've cut the stems off. One thing you can do is keep these and save them and roast them and add to make a mushroom stock. That's a different story on a different day. One thing I wanted to show you, these are particularly pristine. There might be one tiny bit of dirt there, but these are really gorgeous. A lot of times you'll get these wild mushrooms or cultivated mushrooms. They'll have some dirt. Don't put these in the sink and soak them or wash them. You want to keep these dry because they'll just soak up like a sponge. You don't want that. But this is a great tool, a little pastry brush, if you want to just check the undersides and flick away any of the dirt that might be adhering. Last year, we had a great harvest of mushrooms, and we harvested ours, and we couldn't use all of them, and we couldn't even give them all away. So I dehydrated some, and we're going to use some of these dehydrated. I have covered about 2 ounces of these dehydrated mushrooms with some boiling water. So we're going to use a combination of these dehydrated ones that I've reconstituted, and then some of these, and we're going to make the most delicious appetizer that will pair greatly with the arugula that we're going to serve on this same toast as well. Aren't these gorgeous buttered toast? Delicious. On to the fun stuff. I have melted a couple of tablespoons of butter and a tablespoon of olive oil. You can use all butter, you can use all olive oil, you can use your trusty schmaltz, but I'm saving that for something later. Not in this episode, but for me later. So the butter has melted. I'm going to give that a little bit more heat. We have our reconstituted dried shiitakes here. That's a couple of ounces. And then we have one of these big mammer jammers here that I've cut up. I think if you're using fresh mushrooms, you're going to want about a pound of fresh mushrooms. I'm using a combination of fresh and dried. Give that a little bit more heat, and I'm going to put these in here, and these are going to cook down, and I'm going to give them a little bit of salt. That'll help them to release some of their moisture, and that will sweat off. But we're going to let these get a little color. Remember, color is flavor. You can see our mushrooms have turned a nice, beautiful color, and they're going to continue to cook. But now we're going to add our shallots, about a 1/4 cup. Use as much as you want. And I've got a couple of cloves of garlic. I want to give this another little go around. You don't want any of these pieces too big, because they'll overwhelm the bite. We're also going to finish this with some chives. So we've got a lot of onion going on. We've got the shallot. We've got the garlic. We finished with the chive. If you don't have an onion, most people do, but if you want to use a leek, you can use leeks. You can use onion. You can use shallot. You know, do what you want. You use the kind of mushrooms you like. I'm going to give this another little bit of salt. I wish you could smell it. It smells so delicious. And then I have prepped these. This is our buttered toast with some triple cream cheese, not cream cheese, triple cream like Saint Andre or some slutty confection like that. We're going to top these toasts with the mushrooms, and that is how we will serve it, along with our arugula pesto and the burrata cheese. So this is gorgeous. Now it is time to taste. I haven't peppered it yet. It's just, it's so good. I did add some white wine because they were looking kind of dry. So you can add some white wine. You can add some butter. You could add some vegetable stock or chicken stock if you want to just keep cooking them down. But the taste is delicious. I don't know if I tasted one of the pieces that we harvested yesterday or one of the pieces that we harvested last year and dehydrated. But I'm going to let this cook a little bit more. We're going to top our cheese toasts and with some chives, and who knows, we might have a mystery taster coming by the house. So you can see we have plated our lovely appetizers. This is the mushrooms sauteed in butter and shallots on toast with triple cream cheese. This is our arugula pesto with some burrata on top, and I believe our mystery guest taster is on his way. It looks like our mystery guest taster is here. Oh, I'm so excited. It's Brandon Michael Mays.
Hello.
Oh my goodness.
My dear friend.
So good to see you.
So good to see you too.
Welcome.
Look at this.
I know.
Oh, it's so cool.
It is time to lift the dome. Voila! Okay, so Brandon, I made arugula pesto from the garden, the arugula from the garden, and on top of that is burrata, that creamy mozzarella.
I love burrata.
Good.
So good, yeah.
I put the la in mozzarella.
There you go.
And then this other one here is toasted. They're both on butter toasted bread, and I sauteed some homegrown shiitake mushrooms, and that is a really slutty, thick, rich cheese underneath. And would you like a jelly jar?
Of course. There's no LaLa without jelly.
Amen.
I know.
There you go. All right. Cheers, my friend. It's good to have you back.
Good to have you back. Mmm. Mmm.
You make all the right noises.
Mmm.
I'll send you home with some.
This is great.
Do you really like it, or are you just acting?
No. You'd never be able to tell. But, I mean, it was so good.
He's an award-winning actor.
By whose standards?
Well, you got my award.
Thank you. And we had, in our dressing room, all we would talk about is food. All we would talk about.
This is true.
Yeah.
Trips to Buford Highway and the like.
Yes.
Okay, he's moving on to appetizer number 2, the mushrooms and the slutty, creamy cheese. You can do it.
Okay. Stretch.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. Yeah. Heard the crispy crunch from all the way over here.
Mmm. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Those mushrooms are divine.
We harvested them from our neighbor's shiitake logs just yesterday.
Wow.
How about that?
That's so good. So what's in the cream cheese?
It's just like San Andre. It's a really, triple cream.
Yeah.
I say super slutty.
Yeah. I love that. It's super fitting.
Amen. We are going to make another vinaigrette. Last week we made a couple of very simple vinaigrettes, but one of my favorite vinaigrettes is lemon vinaigrette. And so here we have et limon. And officially, if you're going to call it a vinaigrette, it has to have vinegar in it. This, I guess, would be I think that's all I need. This would be a limonette. I'm going to add, though, a little sherry vinegar. Now it's a vinaigrette. It's official. A little Dijon. A Dijon. And you know, just because I'm feeling spicy, I'm going to get my sharp knife and just do the tiniest bit of garlic. You can use a garlic press for this if you're pressed for time. But here's just a little, if you don't have a garlic press, you can just chop it and then smash it with, see how that makes a nice little paste. And if you really want to get some work done on it, add a little bit of salt down here, and that will further, and this is just a tiny, tiny bit of garlic. This is not going to overwhelm your date or your vinaigrette. Don't want to come on too strong, people. You know what I'm saying? Huh. Said the person who often comes on way too strong, but that's another story. All right, I'm going to remove this out of the way. And now we're going to slowly drizzle in our olive oil. And I'm going to use some of this. I'm going to use some of the good stuff. Huh, a cork. I haven't heard of that in a while. I wonder why. Just kidding. Okay. Slowly, slowly. So see, this is thickening, thickening, thickening. And you don't have to add the garlic. You don't have to add the Dijon. But I tell you what, that arugula loves lemon. Sometimes you might get carried away like I do. But still, you can tell that's a beautiful, nice, emulsified vinaigrette for your arugula salad. Next, we're going to make mushroom risotto, homegrown shrooms. And there are two ways you can go about this. You can use chicken stock or you can use vegetable stock. As y'all know, I'm kind of a chicken stock kind of person, but this is some of that vegetable stock that we made last week that is delicious. This is another batch of the chicken stock, and I want to show you. The first time we did this, I had just some anorexic chickens, and there wasn't a whole lot of fat to gather, and it had not really properly congealed. But look, this is how it should be. This was from a package of 4 chicken thighs, the skin on, bone in, and a package of chicken backs. When you get them with the backs, they are loaded with fat. So look for those, you know, unless you're on a diet or something. But look how easy this just flips off. It's like a polar ice sheet made of fatty goodness. And you can also see how rich this is. Practically gelatinous. That's because there was so much bone and cartilage and connective tissue in that stock pot making this. So just wanted to show y'all what a good, well-fed chicken brings to the table. Cheers. Risotto. We have a couple of tablespoons of butter, a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. You could use one, both, a combination. You could use your schmaltz, as we are wont to do. Here's about a half a cup of shallots we're putting in here. I want that to be sizzling. I need to bring the heat up, because you want to hear it. If you can't hear it, you gotta fear it, people. All right, so we're gonna bring this heat up. We're gonna saute the shallots in this fat that we have here, whatever combination you want to use, do it. And then we have our shiitake mushrooms, homegrown, prepped here and ready to go in. When this heats up and we've had our shallots soften a little bit and get a little color, we'll add this, let that get some color, and then we'll get to our arborio rice. Arborio rice is different than jasmine rice. It is a short, little, chubby little grain, my kind of grain. The other rices are longer and thinner, so happy for them. And they don't release as much starch as these short grain starches do. So when you're stirring your arborio rice, what you're doing is you're rubbing a lot of that starch off, and it kind of spins into this miasma of your risotto, making it very creamy without adding any cream. Our shallots are sizzling away. They have softened. They've gotten a little color. How beautiful. And now we're going to add our shiitake mushrooms. If you want to use some other kinds, like I said with that other dish, if you have access to chanterelles, use those, or hedgehog, wood ear, any wild, exotic mushrooms. About a pound. This is a little bit less than a pound, just because it's what we had. You don't always have to stick to the directions, people. Use what you got. All right, so we're going to let these brown. I'm going to salt them a little. That will help them to release some of their juices. Salt. Delicious. And meanwhile, over here, we have some chicken stock. Depending on your household, it might be vegetable stock or mushroom stock. Talk about gilding the lily. Okay, so we're going to have this warm and ready to go, but we're going to let these mushrooms here cook down, sweat, and get some color. What do I say about color? I say color is flavor, and those shiitakes have some flavor and some color. All right, now we're going to add our 1 cup of arborio rice. And what we're gonna do is just stir this around and get it coated with the oil and the butter that's in here and the musings from the shiitakes that have been in here thinking about, why is it so hot? Jesus. So we're gonna give this a stir, and then you're gonna add about a half a cup of wine. And why use the corked bottle wine when you can use Boda? Listen to it sizzle. It's gonna come right out of that spigot. Woo! Boda! Can't not love that. Oh, Roscoe, use your words. All right, so we're gonna stir this and let the wine absorb into these beautiful grains of rice. I will reward our pet for making a noise. And when we come back, we'll start adding this beautiful chicken stock. All right, so the wine has absorbed. We've been snacking on that arugula pesto. It's so delicious. Are my teeth clean? Now we're going to start adding this warm chicken stock or vegetable if you so choose. I choose not to choose that way. About a half a cup at a time. And you're just gonna keep doing this. This takes a minute. But we're gonna continue adding a half a cup or so of this warm stock, and as it absorbs, we're gonna let the pot get dry, and then we'll add another cup. And this is gonna go on, this is about 5 cups. We're just gonna go on until the stock is gone and the food is ready. Formaggio. We have added about 4, maybe 5 cups of warm, simmering chicken stock to this lovely risotto. And we've been adding it half a cup by half a cup. Again, good for conversation, or if you're alone, self-contemplation. I'm going to throw in a bunch of Parmesan cheese, and we're going to let this incorporate, stir it until it melts. Also, while y'all weren't watching, I added some fresh thyme leaves. I pulled most of the leaves off of this just to give it a little bit of herbal flavor. We'll finish it, of course, with my favorite, Hugo Chavez chives. And we will also have this beautiful arugula salad with our lemon vinaigrette that we made. What a meal. What's not to like about this, huh? Look at it. It's almost ready. I like to finish it with a little butter, and that really is a little butter. If there wasn't a camera in the room, I would have put like a whole stick. I'm just kidding. I would have put a whole stick, but it adds a little, yet even a little more richness. So we've put all of the chicken stock, we have the shallots, we have the mushrooms, the arborio rice, we've added some wine. Boda, delicious. And I think this is about ready. We put some Parmesan cheese in there. So we are gonna plate this carefully. Ooh, no mistakes. Must be perfect, must be perfect. Just maybe a little bit more. So that is beautiful. And a little Hugo Chavez. And over here we have our magnificent arugula salad that we are going to dress. Ooh, nice dodge, honey.
Thank you.
Lightly dress and toss. Some people do it with their fingers, but these days you can't be too careful. And some additional, you know what, Parmesan cheese. And we will finish this salad with some pine nuts. Word for the wise, when you're making a salad, when you put the goodies into the salad bowl, They always sink to the bottom, and it's just a mess trying to get the goodies. I like to do my salads like this. Just the lettuces and the vinaigrette, and then put your goodies, your pine nuts, your bacon bits, your croutons on after you've tossed the salad, and then they don't get lost at the bottom. Look at this, the beautiful mushroom risotto, shiitake mushroom, homegrown, arugula salad, homegrown. And I just got to tell you, you run into a recipe that says risotto just takes 20 minutes. Whoever wrote that recipe can suck my olive wood spatula. Cheers. Thank you for watching episode 5. Can you believe it? It's a hit show. It's taken the nation by storm. Anyhow, thank you for being here. If you want the recipes from this episode, go to horizontheater.com. All the episodes and the recipes are archived there. And if you want to come back next week, who knows what we'll be doing, but it will come straight from the garden, I can guarantee you.
For more information and to download all the recipes that you've seen on this episode of Cooking a la LaLa, please visit horizontheater.com.